Hello, welcome to another episode of Terrific Tools Tuesday. I know it's been quite a while since I've done one of these, and if you look at what's in front of you, you might think that I might be doing a terrific tool of the Cricut. Someday I do plan on using a Cricut as a terrific tool because it is one of my absolute favorite tools. However, not today. I'm not even really going to talk about the Cricut toolkit. Today I'm going to talk about one of the simplest, most basic of tools that any kind of crafter needs. It's found in here. It's called a ruler. Now, if you're older than about 3, you probably know that rulers come in all shapes and sizes. And that's what I want to talk to you about. That and the fact that I just found something new about my favorite ruler. So let's talk about rulers for a minute. You know, having good rulers and probably having more than one is really good to have if you are a crafter. We measure all the time. This is just a basic 7-inch ruler, and yes, it did come with my Cricut tool set, and I like it. It's clear. One thing that I've discovered is using a clear ruler is highly helpful when you are doing any kind of card making, because it's nice to see below the ruler to see your placement. So that's just a simple ruler. Of course, if you look here at my cutting mat, it in and of itself is a ruler. Now, in case you're wondering, no, I did not get a new cutting mat. Some of my earlier videos had a pink cutting mat. Actually, this is just a dual-sided cutting mat, and I turned it over because this side was cleaner. But you can use, even your cutting mats often will have ruler grids on it. I have a smaller Fiskars cutting mat that is a self-healing mat that I've used. Actually, I think I've gone through 2 of them. Used them for a long time. One of my very first self-cutting mats, and I would use them for lots of things, and it's a great cutting mat. I highly recommend having it. It's a lot smaller, however, and not one that's very conducive to doing videos. Now, the paper cutter that I choose to use, and actually most paper cutters have their own rulers on them as well, makes it so easy to help measure your cards. Now, obviously you can tell this one's getting kind of grungy. In fact, I don't believe you can even get this one anymore. Maybe you can, I don't know. But this is made by Fiskars, and it's not really, I mean, you would think of it more as a cutting tool, and it is, but the reason I want to show it to you today is because it is a ruler also. They come in a couple different sizes. The newer ones are actually clear, and I probably would sometime like to grab one of those. I just haven't purchased one yet, but my mother-in-law purchased one not too long ago, and I will show that to you probably sometime when we talk about cutting devices. But this particular ruler has a swinging arm out, and it will go all the way up to about 16 inches. Really handy. It's got different guides on it for different size cards. Again, it's a ruler. It's got ruler going this way. It's got ruler going this way. You can cut your 12 by 12 paper on it. It's just a great ruler. My oldest probably ruler that I've had for many years is one, and I still use it quite frequently. I like it because it's flexible, it's thin, it's not see-through. This is just a stainless steel ruler. I don't even know where I got it. I think my husband got it for me for Christmas several years ago. I really like it. It's got cork on the back so that when you're working with it, it doesn't slip and slide as much. And because it's metal, I can't tell you how many times I've used an X-Acto knife or a scalpel and cut up the side of it. It's an 18-inch. It measures both in inches, and if you flip it over, it also measures in centimeters. So again, this is probably my oldest ruler, and it's one I really like. And one I would recommend. I like having the 18-inch size, especially if I'm doing something large, like a previous post where I did a box top. It was very handy to have an 18-inch ruler. So that's a good one. This is just a regular old school ruler, and I keep it right with all my other rulers, and sometimes I grab it. It's one I've used for years. It probably cost me $2 or $3. Again, it's clear so that I can see what I'm doing. It does slip and slide, but it's still a good ruler. My purpose in showing you this is you don't have to go out and buy an expensive ruler. You can go buy a school ruler or whatever you like to get started. as I mentioned, this one I think I did get as a Christmas gift or something several years ago, and it was a little bit more expensive, but you don't have to have that expensive of a ruler. Now, my favorite new ruler, this is the Tim Holtz Idea-Ology ruler. I looked at it for probably months trying to decide if I wanted to buy it or not, and I thought, man, I've got these two great rulers, why would I want to buy that ruler? And finally I just gave in and decided I wanted that ruler just because I like Tim Holtz. I like the things that I have of his. It's good quality stuff. So I went ahead and purchased it. I think I had a coupon. I believe this ruler is probably about $6.99. And honestly, if I could only have one ruler, this would be the one. Let me show you some things about this ruler. As you can see, it's an inch ruler, but then it's got a grid. It almost reminds me of graph paper, but that's at 1/4 inch. It's got a 1/4 inch grid, so you can see up into increments of a 1/4 inch. But if you look more closely, in between each 1/4 inch, it's got another grid at the 8th inch marks. And so you can actually measure in 1/8 inch increments on this in a grid pattern. And like this big mat, having a grid is very helpful. This side of the ruler has a metal strip in it. So looks like I have something on it. This has a metal strip on it, so if you wanted to use it to cut alongside, you wouldn't have to worry about shearing off the plastic of the ruler. This side is, and I know the camera does not pick it up, but this side actually slopes down, and it doesn't have cork or anything in it. Of course, you would lose the positive side of having the grid if it did, because you wouldn't be able to see through it. But this side slopes down, and it makes it so easy to draw lines on there. Just smooth, nice lines that you can draw if you need to. It also has these little holes in it. I don't know if you can see them, but at every 1/8 of an inch, it has a hole. Now, I've not gotten into paper piecing or sewing by hand on my cards or my scrapbooking pages, but you could if you wanted to. If you wanted to draw dots, you could take your little pen and it would have to be a little more fine tip with a long point. What I used it for most recently was for marking something that I needed, and I took just a regular Sharpie, or just a regular lead pencil, Eversharp, and I put it in there, and then I could, you know, kind of scribble in the circle and show my circle. You couldn't necessarily put a pin in there. However, you could put a paper piercer in there if you were doing piercing projects. But this is the final straw that made me so glad I bought this. And you probably can't tell it, but it's kind of scratched. I've used it quite a bit. But last night, for the first time ever, I found a feature on this that I had never seen before. This is the feature that, if you look at this ruler, this is a normal 12-inch ruler, and you have 1 through 12 on top. But if you look at the bottom, at the 6-inch mark, you have a 0. And then it goes out from there. And this is what completely made me appreciate, and I'm so glad I bought this ruler because of it. If I look at this piece of paper here, it is almost 6 inches exactly. Now, what if I wanted to find my center point? Now, you and I both know that half of 6 is 3. So I could come in here and do a 3. But what if my measurement was a little bit off? So simple. All I have to do is come out here. Oh, look, I'm off. And I could line it up, putting my 0 as close to the middle as I could see, and then looking on the outer edges here, I can see it goes 0, 2, 3. 3 is lined up here, 3 is lined up here. My center point is right at the 0, right there, and there's my center point. I cannot tell you how much I will use that. How often are we trying to find the center of a card, and we move our ruler, and we move it, and we move it. This is lined up so that you can, in 1/8 inch increments, do it exactly. So this is the Tim Holtz Idea-Ology ruler. I highly recommend it. You can get it at most craft stores. Joann's carries them. Michael's carries them. I believe Joann's carries them. I got this one at Michael's, and I'm pretty sure I used a 40% off coupon for it, so it probably only made it about $4. So if there's only one ruler you can buy, I highly recommend this one. So that's why I'm calling it a terrific tool. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great Tuesday.